Let's read another scary Reddit story. I was walking home one night from my grandmother's house. We lived in a village in rural Ireland. Granny's house was on the outskirts of the village, so I had to walk up a narrow country lane to get to Granny's house and back down the lane to get toward the village. My granddad was dying, and the priest gave him his last rites. He pulled through the night, and my granny told me to go home and get a bit of rest. I reluctantly agreed and walked home, down the country lane I've been walking on since I was a boy. Only this time it seemed weird in some way, almost eerie, and I never get spooked. I pushed the feeling to the side as my mind was in shock about Granddad. I was walking toward the bottom of the lane when I noticed a blur of white down the bottom of the lane beside one of the farmer's gates to the field beside my grandparents' house. I thought it was a lamb that had escaped. It happens a lot. I walked toward it to investigate. When I walked toward the blur of white, it felt like electricity entered every inch of my body. The hairs were standing up on my arms and what was left on the top of my head. I stood frozen in perpetual fear as the figure was an old, hunched-over woman in a white robe, and she just screamed the most merciful scream. The guttural scream was so frightening, I actually stopped breathing with sheer fear. I looked up into her face and saw nothing, just a blur. The cry was ungodly, like a mother finding out their child is dead. The scariest scream I've ever witnessed. Adrenaline must have kicked in because I legged it straight back up the lane toward Granny's house and legged it into the front door. I could hear my granny rushing out of Granddad's room crying. She said, "Granddad's gone. He just passed away within the 5 minutes of me leaving and encountering the woman on the lane." I remember telling my elderly aunt and a few family members about the woman, and they said that she was a friend of the family by now. She only appears when someone is going to die. I thought they were taking the piss until my father, a born skeptic and a very religious man, confirmed the woman's existence. In some families in Ireland, she would be called the Banshee. I'll never forget her. Not even when I'm on my own deathbed will I ever forget the howl. Okay, I need my Irish people in the comments. Have any of you ever experienced the Banshee? She sounds scary, but I kind of feel bad for her. Why is she crying? It kind of sounds like she's like the Grim Reaper. I don't know, but I feel bad for her. And that story is going to be on my next podcast episode that comes out on Sunday. So make sure you're following me on Spotify so you don't miss the episode.